Hey, Leighton hit my thing.
Step one, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause of sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Hope everybody's doing awesome this evening. Thank you all so much for tuning in here for our first edition of our brand new Tuffy Talk live show. Again, we're basically a newer rendition of this awesome weekly live stream we've been doing that kind of basically taking it up a notch here, really having some segments, just again, really tending towards a lot of, stuff that hopefully should interest you all, Wolfpack Nation, here to tune in with us here and join in on the fun conversation here. So that being said, as always, Leighton Smith making that. It was Michael Tracy and Greg the Leg, or I don't even know. What's the last name to Greg, right? Just Greg the Leg, right? That works enough.
That works for me.
Yeah, that works. So anyway, y'all, as just as a reminder today, make sure again if you're tuning in here with us to again, first of all, just send us a comment, let us know who's here with us today, and also too, just as a reminder as well. So we're going to be starting off with this first show. We're going to be doing the Tuffy's weekly rewind, and then we're going to be jumping into some Tuffy tweets of the week, and then we'll finish this thing off with the Tuffy mailbag, where we answer questions that were submitted by you, the fans. So just like I said, with that being said, we'll jump into Tuffy's weekly rewind. Alrighty. So with that being said, so obviously gotta start off with, and yes, you can tell by the faces that the other guys haven't seen that yet either.
We're all like in there, we're like, whoa, that was pretty.
Yeah. So with that being said, though, obviously a lot to get to between the news of Big T coming back and Mackenzie Blackwater. Welcome, Mackenzie. But anyway, so we're going to start off talking about Big T, and I know obviously everybody wants to talk about the Pac-9. We'll discuss that more in the mailbag tweets of the week section, so just to give you a heads up on that. So jumping into it, obviously the huge news today, which unless you're living under a rock, you should already know this. Obviously, the big news today, this afternoon, is that Big T, Terquavion Smith, projected first rounder for this year's draft, is coming back. So guess what, Wolfpack Nation? It's not all bad news in the last 48 hours. We actually do have some good news coming in finally. So obviously huge for next year's team. On top of, obviously, I think, well, we all got to admit that Keats has put together an amazing transfer class so far, and I know he's still talking as well with one potential transfer from Campbell as well. So, Macon, I know that your heart and soul is with the men's basketball team. So I know you were thrilled to hear that news today.
Yeah, man, that was. I think it was more so that I don't think anybody really thought he was going to come back after the way he performed at the combine. You could argue he was the best player at the combine. You could argue that. And I think his agent, I saw a tweet that put out, his agent said that everybody, I think it was actually the interview that ESPN did with Terquavion, where he said every team that his agent had talked with had a first round grade on Terquavion right now. So every team thought he was a first round talent. Doesn't necessarily mean he would get drafted in the first round, but the fact that every team viewed him as such after the combine kind of signals he probably would have gotten drafted in a late first round ish, maybe, and that would have been on a winning team, relatively speaking. So the fact that he wants to come back and the reasonings for why I thought were the most interesting part. As you guys, I mentioned that article. If you go back and look at it, he was talking about how he wants to be a student for another year. He just wants to. He mentioned how COVID kind of messed up his and a lot of students' ability to be a student for on college campus or high school or whatever. And he wants that experience. He wants to be able to come back and build on his time at NC State. He said he loves his school. What more can you ask for a guy? I mean, I think when he, as long as he stays healthy, I think he's going to end up being a fan favorite player. I think people will view him as a favorite more than maybe some others in recent memory, because he's basically embracing what every fan would love to see him do. Hey man, you could be a lottery pick next year. You wait to play another year. It helps the team out. You make even more money. So I think it's great. And what it means for this upcoming season, I'm big into recruiting, whether it's football or basketball. This is like I've said to you late before about having like a 6-star recruit, because they go 1 through 5 stars, and 5 stars like a top, I can't remember the number, top 20, top 50 best player in the country. Which is like all the Alabamas, Georgias, Michigans, they all get those guys. 4 stars, a lot of those really good players. This is like a 6-star, to my opinion. Like, he's proven at the college level. He's coming to NC State again. This was the biggest get Keats had to get. And I will say this, as much hate as we've given Keats, and I think as much shade, if you want to call it that, or heat, and rightfully so, I think it's been warranted. He needs to be credited for this, because getting Terquavion to come back is a huge deal. Now you have a roster with the pieces he's brought in, and you were trying to assume that he wasn't coming back. Now you add Terquavion back into the mix. I was trying to think today, and I wanted to discuss this today. What do you guys now think the starting lineup would be? Because that's a fun problem to have if you're Keats, I think.
Yeah. Michael, I'm curious your thoughts on it.
Oh, I mean, definitely turn the weekend around, that's for sure. But yeah, like Macon said, it is almost like getting a 6-star recruit, because you know what he can do, and assuming, I guess you're still assuming, but he can really only be better next year, with better pieces around him. I think he'll be a preseason favorite for ACC Player of the Year. I don't think there's any reason why he couldn't win ACC Player of the Year.
He'll get votes.
Yeah.
The question is who be better. I don't know who's going to be in the rosters right now, but I imagine Caleb Love and I feel like Armando Baycott's probably going to get the votes.
Yeah, I would say. But I think it'll probably be Baycott 1 and then Terquavion 2.
I think Terquavion and Caleb Love are going to get a mix of votes. Is Matthew Cleveland still at Florida State? Because he's another guy I could see getting some votes. I think he is.
Sure.
I believe so. I haven't heard any news of him being in the draft or anything like that. So
yeah, I could see him getting some votes. I mean, Duke's got guys.
Yeah, Duke
I don't really know who's on the
definitely.
roster right now, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
which by the way, too, man, the pressure on Shire heading into the season, just as a kind of a side note here. But anyway, sorry, go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, no, I tweeted it out and I said I had that tweet in my drafts ready to go when Terquavion comes back. I seriously think that, I mean, it'd be a big turnaround, but I think we could be a top 5 ACC team next year. I mean,
wow,
I think we've got the pieces that we need.
You're saying we could go from bottom of the ACC to top 5 in one turn?
I mean, yeah,
I'm not saying it's out of realm possibility. No. I'm just saying that's a hot take.
It is, but take. it's all of the coaches that were on the staff last year are gone, except for Keats. A lot of the players, it's going to be a totally new starting lineup besides Terquavion and that may be it. So it's a totally different team. Like it's not like you're taking a team that finished last year and hoping those players improve. It's a totally new roster.
Well, let me tell you one thing, though, that kind of makes me curious is the idea of Terquavion and Breon's starting together. I think that would be a really interesting duo just because, coming out of high school, the chemistry that those guys had, and assuming that Terquavion plays 2 and Breon would challenge for the 1. I mean, it's a very interesting idea. Now, obviously, I think that Greg Gannon and DJ Barnes would be the 4 and the 5, but Greg, you have any thoughts on the lineup?
I don't know about the lineup, but I will say, kind of piggybacking off of Macon's statement about a fan favorite, I think he's going to be one of those that we will remember because his actions spoke much louder than his words.
Amen.
That he came out in that article that Macon was referencing, saying that they were the first to recruit me. I committed when I was 15, shut it down for everybody else. So I mean, he was lock and steady for the pack from the very, very beginning. So in a day and age where loyalty doesn't always show itself, I think that in itself speaks beyond his talent, more of a human being, and just respecting the process and doing things about the right way.
Well, and I'm going to add this too. I think you made a point, Lane, about being more interested. It might be interesting. Pass and Smith playing together. I'm going to be more interested to see Joyner and Smith play together. I think
and Burns.
I mean, yeah, right. My point. I'm just talking about the 2 guard, the 1 and 2.
Yeah, I got you.
Position. But you're right. Yeah, like I think the fact that I don't know if you don't know what the state was thinking. I think it's a fair interview question. I think Keats will actually be very open to answering this question, but I'd be curious to know what the thinking was. Like how long has he known Terquavion was coming back? Did he know at all? And I'm thinking he planned this roster out, in my opinion, in a way that would make it so that way we would not be hurting if Terquavion were to leave, which is why I think you see him recruiting this guy from Campbell, Cedric Henderson Jr., which is why he recruited guys like Jarkel joins a point guard. You needed a guy, but you needed a guy like Jack Clark for a small forward too. But I think State's backcourt is going to be very, very good next year. I won't say great because I don't want to get too far ahead of myself and be like
potential.
Yeah, but Joyner and Smith, Morcell at least defensively, and then I think what you can get from Jack Clark, I think with his length on the corner shooter. I think could be very good. You're adding a lot of length now too. I mean, like we knew Terquavion. I think he's 6'4". I think. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but let me look it up. Terquavion.
He is around 6'4". I know that.
Yeah,
6'4". Now the thing I think with Terquavion is one of his goals is off season he needs to add some weight.
I can help him there.
We can give him some.
Yeah, I can get him on my diet.
But I mean.
It looks like he has, at least from the combine, it looks like he has even in the past couple months.
Yeah. He's going to need to make that a goal, though. I think if he can get to 6'4", 185, that ballpark, I think that's very reasonable and doable. And I think also, too, he showed that he can slash and do that, but that was more Darion's and Seron's game. Terquavion
shooter.
I think more of an had an identity as being more of a shooter. I think he's going to need to show you that he can drive and create off the bounce a little bit more, like create the bounce and hit a post up or like a jump shot. I think if he can do that, add some weight, I think he's going to be a very high pick next year. And I think State's going to be in a very good position. I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited about it. We haven't said that all this past season.
Yeah.
So I feel like that Michael Scott meme where he's like, no question about it, I'm ready to get hurt again. That's what I feel like right now. So yeah.
So let me shout out real quick to some of the comments here. So first of all, saw Russell said great to have met late and Saturday night. Yep, met Russell at the Pitt game, the AC semifinals game. So great to meet you, Russell. Ro Jamie says we needed that info, aka the info about Big T coming back after the weekend.
Yeah, we did.
Yes, was great news for sure. And Ro James also mentions the point that you mentioned, Greg, about the kid has loyalty to the school that we haven't seen in a while, and absolutely love to see that. It's a breath of fresh air for sure. And then Nicholas Lapointe asked, do we know his major? Do you guys know his major?
I can look it up real quick.
Yeah, I tried to do like a quick look real quick and I couldn't find anything, but and then James says the only news that would make me happy is that the NCAA scheduled a play-in game for the NC State and Ole Miss, and that would be nice.
We can go there in a few.
We'll go there in a few.
How about a boxing match between Coach Avent and whoever that guy was who was the main selection committee guy?
Oh yeah, the AD from Army.
How about a boxing match between those two? That would be more fun.
What was his name? Bundy or something like that?
Yes, it was Mike Bundy.
But he's an Army guy. I don't know if I'd want. I don't know if I'd take Avent in a boxing match.
Well, it's a risk we're fighting for, right? Hey, Avent's gonna fight for it. So that's the thing you know about Avent. And then Mackenzie also says Pac Athletics is on the rise, and I'm here for it. And then in quotes, if the NCAA will leave us alone, yes, there is a hardy of evidence that NCAA hates NC State for some reason, and we do not know why. We do not know who slapped who. Like, there has to be something. Like, there's just no other explanation. And then James says, I'm not here for any Tommy transfer talk. And okay, if you say so, James, and we will go ahead and say, we got to go ahead right now. Just go ahead. We'll just say right now, yes, there is a rumor going around right now from a guy that has one account that has like 20 followers.
10. Don't even give him all his credit.
Okay, 10. sorry. 10 followers that Tommy is looking at transferring. So just pump the brakes on that, folks, and let's it's
not a very reliable source. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's not a very reliable source. So just pump the brakes on that a little bit. And then Mackenzie says that her money is on Avent, and I like it. So again, we'll just kind of leave it there at that. But Greg, were you able to find anything? I didn't know if you haven't to find anything yet.
No, like I guess because of all the turnover on the roster, there's no players mentioned on the roster right now.
Well, I was looking at Big T's page and it didn't really say anything. So, but anyway, so go ahead.
I wanted to add one thing that we haven't talked about much is the LJ Thomas coming in, who, just because our backcourt is going to be very good next year now with Smith coming back. But I mean, LJ Thomas, he's a freshman, but he's not really a freshman. He's had that one extra year, and they were the team account was tweeting out pictures of him, and like, he doesn't look like a freshman. Like, we were talking about Terquavion adding weight, and Breon Pass was a pretty skinny guy last year too, and Ernest Ross. But LJ Thomas, like, he looks pretty built, and I think he'll be pretty good.
Well, so last thing on the Smith major. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No.
There's nothing on his bio. Yeah, there's nothing on his bio. Where they have it listed. So maybe he's undeclared.
NBA.
Yeah.
NBA. Yeah.
I'm trying
basketball
to
studies.
Basketball studies.
He is. I got it.
Okay.
It says here on the NC State campus director. Make sure I'm looking at this correctly. Is exploratory studies, which I think is more like a general degree thing. So
that's I'm gonna go play in the NBA.
So for those who want to know, his official listed major is exploratory studies, which I think it means I'm going to go explore the NBA draft.
Hey,
I know his first class next year is basketball 303.
Yeah.
303.
Which, another thing, I think that kind of joke ties into the fact that you make it sound like it's a job, like he's going to go all he is football, making basketball. All we're talking about is him, like that his major, he hasn't decided yet on exactly what he wants to do. I think we need to also give credit to the fact that the NIL played a part in this, and it's not that it gave him like a boatload of money. I'm sure he'll get some sort of agreements with sponsorships and that kind of thing. He totally should. But I think this is where the positive side of the NIL comes into play, because you're not buying players from other schools. You're basically rewarding the players who are already here to say, look, there's more of an incentive to stay, and we will take care of you. And if the goal is to make some money and make big bucks, well, we can give you something to kind of hold you over, if that's one way to put it, or to help you, be stable, and then go make the huge bucks later. So,
well, that's why I think that the NCAA should step in and find a way so that way you can use. I know this will probably never happen, but like my line is that I have no issues with NIL when it comes to keeping players around, keeping them at school. But the issue I have is when you start buying players, like when it comes to who can give me the most NIL money. That's when I have the issue. So it's like, that's
and the tampering.
Anyway. Jordan Addison.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, Jordan Addison. Yes, exactly.
And
I just had a cough there. Not bad.
Like you said, Leighton, keeping them at school, which is completely legal because they are enrolled in your university, so they're allowed. That's completely fine.
Yeah, well, especially too in a sport like basketball, which because my wife and I were talking about this because she was like, "So why?" Because she was like, "Tommy could go to the draft this year, right?" I was like, "Well, no, baseball is actually just like football, where you have to stay 3 years." And she's like, "Well, why isn't it that way in basketball?" I'm like, "It's a good question." So that's where it's kind of like with basketball, it's like, well, I mean, if it takes saying, hey, if you come back, we can have some NIL deals set up for you, then hey, so be it. Then if it means they can get some extra money in their pocket to support their family or whatever and get an education, play college basketball, it's not ideal by any means. I know that all of us out here are saying that the degrees should be for it, and obviously you look back at the history, and obviously in the history's past, education was enough, but we're not in that world anymore. Unfortunately, it is what it is. It's the world we live in now. So, so jumping right over here, I wanted to make sure we jump on women's tennis, because I think honestly this is as big of a deal, honestly, in the fact that we have another national champion coming that is here at NC State, and for those who again are living under a rock for some reason, they do not know, Jada Daniel and Nell Miller with women's tennis won the NCAA doubles title, which is huge for obviously this women's tennis program that has been going up and up and up as it is, and obviously on top of it, men's tennis getting to its second ever Sweet 16, women's tennis making it to 2 back-to-back Elite Eights, and now having an NCAA doubles title, national title winner. That is unbelievable to say the least. And obviously, again, it's just another feather in the cap of all the staff there, and just shows again that how unbelievable that of a job they've done in building this program. So again, got to give a hats off to Jada and Nell and the entire coaching staff on that, first of all, because that's huge. On top of obviously women's cross country winning as well. So it's been a great year when it comes to championships.
I mean, my thing too is this is I don't think fans really pay attention to tennis. I don't think they really pay attention to golf. I don't think they pay much attention to even like volleyball. I mean, that's like these guys just won a national championship, and they should be celebrated and lauded like any other sport winning a championship. They should go, I'm not saying having a parade down Franklin Street or whatever. I mean, not Franklin Street. Woo, forgive me for saying that. Hillsborough Street.
Whoa.
Sorry, guys. I don't know what I was thinking. I think I just saw somebody's name on Twitter named Franklin pop up. My bad. But golly, oh man, I'm gonna need to wash my mouth out.
Can we mute his mic for 5 minutes?
I'm so sorry. Gorman Street, and get those names in my mouth. But They deserve to be celebrated, and it's a huge deal. Maybe this will get fans more invested in the program and go watch. But this is history, guys. Was it in the fall or spring? Earlier last year we had the girl from Cary on the track team won the national title, and I can't remember what it was. She's the coach's daughter. I can't remember her name. And then you got these guys winning it for the women's tennis and doubles. Now we got to go get football to win next season, right? And hey, knock on wood.
Yeah. Well, and the crazy thing too is that Nell is a senior and then Jada is a graduate student. So I mean, they pretty much went out on the top, and they really helped this program so much and left a legacy that, I mean, should never be forgotten for sure. And by the way, Road Jamie's calling you out on Franklin Street, but it's okay.
Well, maybe let me put it this way: maybe they should go parade down Franklin Street and show up the national championship.
Yeah.
So maybe I can make it kind of like twist this back around and be positive. So
I just want to. I want to see the sign on 40.
Exactly.
Yes.
That ticks me off so bad. Oh my gosh!
Believe me, I have to see it every time I come to North Carolina.
Doubles national championship. That would be nice.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to deal with it because they just wanted to stupid another lacrosse championship.
Yeah,
so that sign's gonna stay up. So it bugs. Every time I come into the state of North Carolina on 95, I just want to like come at the middle of the night and go with a saw and just take it down and just don't.
It'd be funny prank because if somebody got a sign up that had like the same kind of medal and put like home of the 20-year NCAA fraudulent classes, like that would be hilarious. It made it look really official, and then until nobody noticed it until somebody reads it, like, wait a minute,
that doesn't look great.
Right?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But James did point out though, so NC State this year has 4 ACC titles this year, which is tied for the most in the conference. So again, it's trust me when we all can say that, and I think that there was some tweets about this, basically talking about how if you don't literally look at it as the big three, meaning baseball, men's basketball, football, that I mean, we're winning just as much as any other program in the conference. But I know that all of us, including all of us here at Tuffy Talk, want that first AC title since 1992. So literally, it's going to be over 30 years now.
30 years
before we win AC title. Which I mean, I know everybody's thinking
that baseball.
It was baseball.
Yes, it was baseball. 1992.
So it'll be over 30 academic years technically.
Yeah.
Thank you for repeating me. Yes. I'm just kidding, Mike. So again, hopefully football this year will be the first one. That would be amazing.
79.
Obviously. Yeah. 79.
I think we need to pump the brakes on all of it, but it would be, I think I want to just, how about this? Let's put it this way for football. We're going to talk on there for a little bit because I don't think it's a lot to hold on to talk about with them right now, but New Year's Six Bowl, very doable.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Well, so and again,
that's what I feel like a goal should be as far as like, I would almost be disappointed if we're not there.
Can I just ask a real quick question? This just says yes or no. Were all three of you born after 92 or before 92?
I was born before 92.
Okay. After. Oh, jeez. Yeah. So you guys have never experienced an ACC championship.
Yeah.
Nope. But I've experienced the hill at Carter Finley, which was amazing. Rolled down that too many times to name, and so I've experienced my share. Yeah, we are due, no doubt about it. And Mackenzie said, Greg, that you and her can work on finding a new route back to Raleigh to avoid the UNC signs. So we'll make that happen. And then James said, graduate 1993. It's all his fault. Yeah. Come on, James.
The last great class, 93.
All right, Wolfpack Nation. Well, it is about that time here. So we're going to be jumping over here to Tuffy's Tweedle Weeks to start talking some baseball here. So here we go. All right. So with that being said, we're going to get started here with our tweet of the week from Alex Sawyer, and I thought this would be a fun one to start off with here. POV, you're a baseball that just got smoked by Tommy White. It's a picture that he took of him in the right field, basically from right field.
POV is point of view. For those who don't know,
point of view. Yes. So, and I'm saying this more too for the people who are listening to us.
Those born before 92.
Yes.
For all the noobs out there.
Yeah. So obviously, even with all of the, talks going on, whatever it may be, obviously got to talk about Tommy White, obviously breaking the NCAA freshman home run record, which is, I mean, it's a record that stood for over
32
30 years, right? 32 years, right? So again, I mean, just the year that this dude has had, I mean, it is unbelievable. And we've said this before that, I mean, if he kept on this trajectory, even, because again, he has to stay for 2 more years. If he stays on this trajectory, he could leave here as undoubtedly the best baseball player to ever leave NC State. I mean, it's just, again, he could just literally crush every record.
Cotton, though. That's
at least position player. At least position player.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, he could literally break NC State's home run record after next year, assuming we make it to the postseason.
Next year,
that's what I'm saying.
But here's the thing: you can't.
Right, so,
I almost. There's a question I had with my dad this week. Do you think it's fair to assume that you should see the same performance next year with Tommy White?
I don't see why.
I mean, it's historic. The odds are like, is it more? I feel like it's more.
But it's not luck. It's skill. Dip. He's just that.
I know it is. But my thing is, though, it's like that's what I'm getting at. This is historic. Nobody does this, but he's a freshman. He's like hitting a home run every other game. So
yeah,
I think it's his average. I think we played 50 some games and he hit 27 home runs. Yeah. That's insane. So, and I will say this, just a side note, there's a guy, I think there's a Tennessee player right now who's got like 33, 35 home runs.
Yeah, that guy's a beast.
Yeah. So should we expect him to do a historical season again? I don't know. I think
the only reason why I would say why he wouldn't is because they walk him a heck of a lot. That's all. Yeah. That's honestly the only reason I can
that's
think
probably why too. I don't think they're going to let him hit as much next season. But do I think it's reasonable to assume this guy is could at least get 18 home runs next season? Yeah, I do. I think. Go ahead.
I was going to say Miami saw a whole regular season of Tommy White, and they still hit through to him 3 different times and let him hit 3 home runs.
That particular game was like, that was one of the things I think I texted you guys. It's like one of the things where if you're on the park and you're a kid, you go run and get your buddies and say, get to the ballpark right now. This is crazy. Like I could not believe that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, he could leave as one of the best players, if not the best player. He could.
Yeah. He could. Go ahead, Greg or Michael. Oh, sorry, we'll let you guys get in.
No, I mean, it's just like it's crazy, and like
it's crazy.
He hit some opposite field too. I think he probably hit more opposite field home runs than he pulled. So it's not like he's just swinging for the fences. What he is, but like he's not just pulling everything. He can and he has a good average. I think he hit 367 or 370. His OPS was way over 1. I mean.
It was like 1.78, I think, is what it was.
Yeah, which is
ridiculous.
I remember saying it was 1.77 something like during the tournament. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah. And like I don't know if he has another historic year next year because like obviously he's only breaking fresh records or less than all-time records for a single season. But I don't know. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't hit 20 home runs again.
Yep. Greg, anything to add to it?
No, I mean, if he hits 27 next year, I think that is the record for state. I believe it's either 54, 55, 56, 57, somewhere in that neighborhood. I remember looking it up earlier in the season. I was trying to pull it up again. So in theory, he could tie it next year again with another monstrous season.
So I was looking it up too. And just for reference, everybody, the career home run record is 100 home runs.
Not at state.
It's nationwide.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The NCAA home run record is 100 home runs. It was done by Pete Incaviglia.
Yeah, Oklahoma State.
Incaviglia.
Incaviglia.
I don't know how you pronounce his name, but it's 83 to 85 at Oklahoma State.
That guy was a beast.
Wow.
In the pros too.
So yeah,
that's unreal.
What was his last name? Make sure I got it right.
Incaviglia.
So
cool.
He's got
on
the NCAA home run record for his career as 100 home runs, and Tommy White's already a quarter of it now. Granted, I think Incovidia, whatever how you pronounce it, I'm going to stop there.
See, I'm like you're like that for this guy as I am for our center. I can't get that guy's name right.
Mahorchik, yeah.
Mahorchik.
But he did that in
Dusan.
3 seasons, not
Wow.
4.
Wow.
83,
Oh.
84, 85.
Wow.
So 213 games. Second place was a guy, Jeff Ledbetter from Florida State. He played from 79 to 82, which was 4 seasons, 262 games. So he basically was averaging 34 home runs, 33 home runs a season.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And you have to remember too, the bats are a lot different now than they were back then.
Yep.
Like this
True.
is more of a home run era. And so those guys, their bats,
They
were hitting with those old Eastons. I don't know.
Yeah.
But this isn't a Pete Invinclavia, whatever his last name is. This is a Tommy White segment.
No, but I'm just saying, like
segment.
even with today's bats, they're still not producing, the amount of home runs that those guys were hitting back then.
Crazy.
So
that's true. So and Russell too, but I want to give you a heads up. We will talk about that. Don't you worry. That will come up. Don't worry. So jumping into the next tweet here, which is from the Wolfpacker. So talking about the UNC game. So of the 11 batters to reach base for UNC through 2 innings, 6 were done so through 2 strike counts.
Yeah.
2 were hits, 2 walks, 1 error, and 1 hit by pitch. And if I'm not mistaken, that one that was a hit by pitch was 2 strikes, if I'm not mistaken. And obviously talk about Logan Whitaker, who started. It was just an odd inning, and it was one of those, like, I feel like that
sucked.
Yeah, it just sucked. Well, I mean, it was just like, because like the rest of the game, like everything was pretty much at ease, but I know that a lot of it had to do with, I mean, first of all, I mean, Chris Villeman is the real deal, guys. He is the absolute real deal. And
he's from High Point.
From High Point, yeah. But I mean, that dude, again, assuming he comes back, next year, hopefully, but I mean, okay, maybe not. I don't know.
I don't think he is. I don't think he will.
Really? I don't know.
You think he's going to come back?
I don't.
No.
I mean,
he's not coming back, man.
It's tough to know with pitchers. I mean, because luckily enough, I think with Villeman, because because I would have said before the tournament that I felt like he would come back because he didn't really have the best into his regular season. But that tournament, I'm telling you guys, like the AC tournament, he was on something. Like that dude, he was
now we know why we lost. Did you guys see the chat there?
I saw it.
Yes.
Jeez,
everything.
You had one job. Stay away.
Come on, Mackenzie.
So for those who are listening in, Mackenzie said that the AC championship game was her first postseason game for baseball this year, so she takes responsibility. And I mean, just again, I know that that's kind of one of those things, like, well, yeah, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, everybody would have a great Christmas. But it's really like, if you take away that second inning, then it's a whole different ballgame. But
Christmas?
just that. Yeah, but again, it's just that one.
Can
second
you
inning.
that tweet one more time? Is that possible?
Yeah. What you got?
So if you just look at that, all right, that whole inning is the epitome of our season, right?
Yeah.
Like we're one pitch away. We just can't get a punch out. We can't get a defensive stop. We hit a guy when like the bases are loaded. Like, I mean, I don't know how many times we've walked a run in this year with the bases loaded, multiple times. It's just we're just one short from getting out of it and then going on to the next inning and then potentially winning a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. So again, it's a frustrating thing. Again, we'll talk a little bit about Avent here, but it's frustrating that since 1992 we've been to the championship game 8 times and have not won any of them. And in a game, especially like baseball, where every baseball game is pretty much a coin flip. Every baseball game is pretty much a coin flip. Basically, sometimes you just have to have things go your way. And for literally things not go our way 8 times in a row is just I'm pretty much convinced that state baseball is cursed in championship games. There's no other explanation. You lose 8 baseball games in a row with a championship on the line. That's my only explanation.
Wait, I thought it was 7.
This year made it 8.
Yeah,
this year made it 8.
But to your point, Leighton, the law of averages has to work out, right? Like one
eventually
would think that. One would
At
just
some
think
point.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all we're asking
Eventually.
is for one. We're not being
Just
greedy.
one.
We just
So
we
here,
just want the one.
it'll happen. It's just a matter of when. Because I mean,
Will
it's
it? Will
yeah.
it?
Because hey, people
Again,
say the
it's the
same
law of
thing about. Hold
averages.
on. NC State said people said the same thing about NC State beating Clemson in football. It happened. It just took a while. And I think that what is bewildering is that in the case of the football, Clemson was head over heels at times talented than NC State. In this case, NC State's one of the more talented teams. Now, granted, NC State this season was not as talented as a lot of the other teams, and UNC was the higher seed. But how many times have we been the higher seed and we just have lost? So that's what's different about baseball. Now, and also I'll say baseball, it's a lot easier to or football's a lot harder to get a win in because it's more of a truly a team unit effort. I feel like baseball rides a lot like the pitcher's almost like the quarterback.
Matchups.
Kind of right on
Matchups.
there. Yeah. So I said that and I feel like I did a disservice. Baseball is a team, especially on defense, but I think you get what I'm saying.
No, you're right. It's matchups, left only right, shift, not shift. I mean, there's just so many different dynamics to it.
So, but it is an anomaly. It is an anomaly, and I think it's going to be a matter of time before State gets there. And in my opinion, I think it's still a matter of when Avent gets a championship. He just needs to retire. That season, just retire because you've broken you say the curse. I don't think anybody's saying there is a curse, but I think they're starting to think that about baseball. So,
yeah.
And to even go further, are we going to talk about the whole NCAA thing?
We're getting there.
We will. We'll get there. We'll get there. Don't worry. We're moving our way along the weekend here. Don't worry.
Leighton and I didn't wear black for nothing.
Yeah. So we'll jump right into it though, because I wanted to bring up this tweet that Andrew Snitker brought up saying this NC State team turned over all but 2 spots in the lineup from last year. Lost Highfill for the season pretty early in the season at the Clemson series, by the way, just to remind you. Still got to the ACC championship game and is going to a regional next weekend.
Yikes.
All right. Well, we could have scratched out the last
That not age well.
Anyway. but
how it started, how
I
it
still
ended.
want to.
It's almost like Andrew, pump the brakes, pump the brakes.
And keep in mind, obviously, this was on May 29th. So this was on Sunday. So obviously before
he wasn't the only one though. Jonas Pope.
I mean, we all thought that we were going. So but the point still, I wanted to point out that obviously, in all retrospective things, it was a very good season. Now, was it great? No. I mean, but I mean, for us to even be in the ACC championship game with losing our ace pitcher, with losing 7 of our 9 batting, batters from last season, it was. I mean, it was overall
a lot to make
a
up.
good season.
There's a lot to make up.
It was a ton to make up. And again, any team losing their ace pitcher, you're going to have a hand tied behind your back. So, again, just got to give a hats off to Logan, to Matt, to Chris, to the pitching staff really stepping up, and Kanan Silver. Got to give a shout out to Kanan Silver for his performance too. So a huge shout out to the pitchers, pitching to the bullpen really in general for stepping up in a tough situation. So I just want to bring that up. But now we will jump into it here. So the Wolfpacker came out with a tweet saying the NCAA committee chair suggests it came down to NC State and Ole Miss for the last spot and noted final 10 games. Ole Miss was 7-3, NC State was 5-5, and Ole Miss 2 series wins in a conference play over NCAA teams and State's 1. Also noted NC State's non-conference strength of schedule. And so I wanted to go ahead and bring it up because this was kind of basically more of just kind of a transition period really. But obviously Debbie Yao herself pointed out that our RPI was 33. And for those who don't know, basically RPI is basically your strength of schedule combined with who you beat, who you lose to, how bad you beat them, how bad you lose to, etc. So it basically takes into account your strength of schedule. And we still went 33. And that was also with 2 canceled games, one against Campbell that Campbell was more important that we could tie the series against them. We lost them the first time, so we, I think had a really good chance to beat them the second time, even the series. And then Coastal Carolina losing that game as well, and Notre Dame too. That's right, absolutely. So again, a lot of missed opportunities. So I think strength of schedule wise, it's like, but again, focusing more on the non-conference strength of schedule. But still, it's just like, but the one thing which I do want to say though, Michael supposedly has a spreadsheet of a sort, which he texted. So I have to ask him about it here live on the Tuffy Talk live show. I'd be like, what is this spreadsheet?
Macon and Greg, you guys go first because I need like 5 interrupted minutes. I'll explain it all.
Okay.
Here's the only thing I'll say for right now. I think, honestly, one of my first thoughts was that I was really disappointed for the guys that are the seniors. So like Devontae Brown, Kanan Silver, JT Jarrett. I'm blanking on who the other guys are, but my point is, you think about how their seasons have gone. Like, I know they wouldn't trade it, but they ended last season as one of the best teams in the country, arguably the favorite to win the whole dang thing, and they got snubbed, got the rug pulled out from underneath them. Terrible way to end that season. Then they come into this season, they're the leaders. They get through the season, they get told that they can, if they got to get the AC tournament, they have to win a game or two, and they have to be sure they're in. They do that. They get to the AC championship game again after last season losing in the championship game to Duke. They lose it this year to Carolina, and then they find out like the next day that they're not even going to go play and they're just done. Like as a senior, that's a terrible way to end your season, and I just hate it for them. Like I mean, I just know they'll be disappointed, and they'll probably be always a little bit of, I don't want to say bitterness, but frustration that they didn't get to have that opportunity. But I feel bad for him. I just think the NCAA, I think the nation really is starting to realize that when people talk about NC State stuff, that's expression, that's an explicit word. There are times where there is like state fans really aren't making this up all the way. Like there's some legitimacy to this stuff. And I do think it's a little bit of a hope. I honestly, I think part of it is the perception that NC State has relative to Duke and Carolina basketball. Like it's just like, oh, well, they're just NC State and they're big wannabes, essentially. I think that plays a part into people's perception of NC State, and I don't get it, but there's something to the NCAA thing with NC State. There has to be, because this many snubs and the way they've done NC State in different sports. Like not getting to play in the Holiday Bowl. Granted, that was more UCLA than it was NCAA.
But they didn't count it a forfeit. They called it a cancellation.
Right. So that was the NCAA didn't have policies in place, because really it comes down to, again, it came down to COVID and this College World Series. It came down to the Holiday Bowl, women's basketball putting us to Bridgeport, and then this with not getting us into the tournament. So those are the 4 examples within 365 days of us getting screwed by the NCAA.
Corey Smith from Pac Pride had a good tweet about that, kind of recalculated everything and said, did I miss something? And it was like that. It was like, it's bad. It's not cool. I don't understand it. So.
The only thing we won in the NCAA was getting Chandler Zavala back, and we had to lawyer up and go crazy and they gave it to him probably because they didn't want to pay the money to go through litigation. It's just easier to give the kid his year, because at the end of the day, what does it hurt them?
That was the appeal too. It wasn't like the initial ruling was no, you can't play. Yeah, and then we had to appeal.
Well, and it was an obvious.
It got a lot of national publicity. It got a lot of national publicity too. So I think they felt the pressure.
But again, it was an obvious case. At the end of the day, like, just take any good lawyer, just show them the evidence that like this dude's only played literally like a third of his games he could have played. Like, he is the premier example of he should get another year. There's no doubt about it. So that's what I'm saying. It's not like the NCAA necessarily, in my eyes, did us a favor. It's more like they did what you should do. Like it's night and day. It's like not even like a conversation, really, in my opinion. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, if the football glove don't fit, you must have quit. So they gave him his year, and he'll be back with us this year. But so before we get into
OJ, calm down,
Michael's stats, the one thing I'll throw out here is, talking relative to the RPI, there were 6 teams that got in with a worse RPI that wasn't a conference champion. And I'll just go through those real quick. TCU at 36, Arizona at 38, Ole Miss at 39, Arkansas at 41, Texas Tech at 46, and Grand Canyon, wherever that's at, 50.
Yeah, that's a Christian college out there, and I
think it's Arizona.
I don't know. Yeah, Arizona somewhere.
I think it's Arizona.
And just as a reminder, we were at 33. So
correct.
Again, basically 17 spots ahead of Grand Canyon, who got in.
So with that, I yield my time to Michael.
I yield.
No, it won't be that long. But basically, I watched the video of the committee director, kind of what he said, the reference points where they used, and then all your typical RPI strength schedule, non-conference strength schedule, even though those are all really baked into the RPI, so it shouldn't matter, but they clearly matter. Your wins versus teams in the field, wins versus the hosts, series wins because the committee mentioned that. Yeah. And then wins versus top 50 RPI teams. So basically, I just looked at the last 18 at-large teams, and I won't go through every single stat for them, but the teams I looked at were UCLA, Oregon, LSU, Virginia, Arkansas, Arizona, TCU, Gonzaga, Texas State, Georgia Tech, Texas Tech, Dallas Baptist, South Carolina, Florida State, Grand Canyon, Liberty, Ole Miss, and NC State. So
repeat that back.
8,
what was the fourth one?
Virginia. Of the 18 teams, NC State was 11th in RPI, 7th in overall strength of schedule, 16th in non-conference strength of schedule. So we were pretty low there, but again, that's baked into regular strength schedule and RPI. So it shouldn't
And again,
matter.
this is standings based off of the 18 teams. So when you say 11,
just
7,
18
16,
teams, yeah.
Based
Just of these 18 at-large teams that would have been where they're basically all 2 and 3 seeds where we could have slotted in. That didn't win their conference NC of the 18 teams, NC State was one of 6 of those teams with 13 or more wins versus the teams in the field. One of 12 teams, one of 6 teams with 13 or more wins versus teams in the field. One of only 4 teams with 6 or more wins versus hosts. One of 9 teams with 3 series wins or more versus teams in the field. One of 11 teams with 1 series win or more versus hosts. One of 3 teams that went 5-5 in the last 10 games, and there were 4 teams that had worse last 10 games than that. One of 5 teams with 13 or more wins versus the RPI top 50. Now, NC State won more games against teams in the field than Grand Canyon played against the top 50 RPI. They also won the same amount of games versus
That's
hosts.
a heck of a stat right there. That's a good stat right there.
Say that one time. Say it slow and steady for us slow.
Say that one again, Michael.
Like me, I'm the slow person here.
NC State won more games against teams that were in the field than Grand Canyon played against in the top 50 RPI.
Wow.
State played more games against teams.
One more
games.
And
Grand Canyon even played.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Against the top 50. They won the same amount of games versus hosts.
Hey, tweet that out. They got to put that on Twitter.
I will. I'll summarize some of these. NC State won the same amount of games versus hosts as Gonzaga won against teams in the field. And 29 of Grand Canyon's wins came against teams ranked 101 or higher in the RPI.
So 100 to 150, etc. When you say higher, you mean higher numbers.
Higher. Yep. So like worse teams. Yep. So basically they had a very easy schedule, which is reflected in their strength schedule. But what else? And then
give us one good one, Michael, to end on. Or don't worry about it. That was a lot. So maybe we'll just leave it there.
Grand Canyon got a lot of credit for wins versus the field because they went 6-0 against New Mexico State, who won their conference and was 24-32. So that boosted them up. So basically, in some just like looking at the metrics, like it's not even it's not even close. Like over Grand Canyon, Liberty, Ole Miss, Coastal Carolina, and then you could argue over Arkansas, Arizona, and TCU.
I'm going to wrap it up. I think I got to wrap it up here. There's a guy from D1 baseball. I think his name's Aaron Fitt. Yeah, I'm mistaken or something like that. Yeah. Wrong. He put a tweet out that, and he's a editor and writer for D1 baseball who all they cover is college baseball. And he said it's probably the biggest snub he has seen in 18 years. Yeah. Is NC State not getting in this year to put a button on it or put a bow on it. It's probably the biggest snub and the biggest omission of a of a NCAA tournament worthy team in his 18 years of looking, almost 2 decades.
The last stat I want to throw out there is we were 4-2 against the top 8.
Right.
Yeah.
So sweeping ECU, winning 1 game against Virginia Tech.
How many quad 1 wins is that?
Yeah. And then beat Miami. So yeah. So yeah. And then to touch base on Russell's comment in terms of how do we handle this? What do we do about this? And the only thing which I think we'll say before we begin, we want to fight. No, but we need to jump into the mailbag here in a little bit. But obviously the easiest answer is that we got to get representation for the ACC in that committee. There's no reason the ACC should not have a representative in that committee.
That's on Jim Phillips.
So that's on Jim Phillips. That's got to happen. And then for us, when it comes to us, I don't know what you want to say. We just got to handle our business. At the end of the day, even though it's cliche to say, it's like, well, next year, just win the AC championship. If you win the AC championship, then you're guaranteed in. They can't not let you in. Or you're like, just don't put stuff on the bubble. It's cliche to say it should not come down to that. But at the end of the day, that's the only way to know for sure that you're going to make the tournament. That's kind of where we're at with that. But anyway,
yes, obviously you win you go undefeated, you'll win the national championship. That's like an easy way to say it, but it's like, only so many teams can win their conference, and then but the point was that we really shouldn't have been on the bubble. Like all those stats mentioned, we were either near the top or in the middle of the pack, and somehow we were the last
4 out or first 4 out. Yeah.
So if I can make 2 quick points before we get just real quick points. One about the representation on the board. It's drawn really weird. It's done by regions and by like FCS and FBS and all of that, because the baseball is so large. It's so it covers both the FBS schools and the FCS schools. So they have it really weird. But to your point, I think all the Power 5 should be represented in their conferences, at least one person. You can still cover the FCSs but it's done by division/region. So it's a really weird, and they're nominated for multiple years at a time. So this might not be something we can fix right away. It might be still a couple more years. And then the last point I'm going to make is props to all the ACC coaches that did, in my opinion, more to stand up for NC State than NC State did for themselves. And I'm going to leave it at that. You can take it however you want to take it. I thought their statements were much better. I just thought their statements were much better, and I'm referring to Louisville, FSU, and even that blue school.
Well, I think our statements was more of a politically correct statement.
Right. Yeah, and again, also, obviously,
you can be strong worded and still be politically correct.
Sure.
Yeah, we agree with you on
anyway,
that.
Just my thoughts.
Well, that being said, we will finally, again, obviously we're going to be going over a little bit here, but obviously between Big T, women's tennis, and then this, I mean, I guess it's not really a shocker we're going to go over here, but that's okay. I'm sure all of y'all will be here for it. And hey, for our first edition of Tuffy Talk, the Tuffy Talk live show, what a better way to do it than to have all this amazing content to talk about here. So with that being said, we'll jump into Tuffy's mailbag. Here we go. All right. So the first question comes in from the oral here. So he brings up saying, I love Avent. Most of Wolfpack Nation loves Avent. But is his legacy a bit tarnished without a title? I'm not saying it should be, but would like a discussion. And I'll tell you, Rusty, this is a conversation which, is unfortunate we have to have it. And obviously, this was something that even before we went to the World Series last year, when we first started Tuffy Talk, that we brought up saying, it's tough, for Avent that he's been to 6 AC championship games before this one, and he hasn't won one. Because at the end of the day, I think James Henderson from Inside Pack Sports said best. At the end of the day, you have to hang a championship banner. Eventually, you have to hang a championship one. If you've been here for as long as you have, eventually you got to hang one. Now, at the end of the day, I will go ahead and say, again, you're not going to fire him. At the end of the day, the road is going to be, he is going to stay here for probably a couple more years, and then he's going to hand it over to Coach Hart, and that's how it's going to go. It's not going to go any other way. You're not going to fire him. It's not going to happen. So we'll go ahead and say that. That is factual. That is not a discussion. That is factual. So, making Michael, Greg, I'll leave it open to you guys.
I don't know if tarnished is the right word,
Yeah, not tarnished.
They'll always be a but if he doesn't
Yes.
win one. You know, it's like
Yes.
won 900, probably get to 1,000 wins, and coach for 30 plus years. That'll be in another couple of years, but he never won an ACC championship. So I don't know.
Yeah. But before I let Greg, you guys jump in, I do want to bring up James's comment here where he says, "Can somebody hug Avent? How much pain can one person endure? Avent deserves every drop of good fortune we can find. Will always be my favorite. That's my coach." And absolutely, again, I mean, you got to give the man props for, first of all, how he handled the College World Series last year. I mean, how much of a leader he was for the players, how much, he really tried to be that shining light, really trying to be that beacon kind of deal through such a tough and awful situation to get basically your season pulled right out from under you, right when you're really, there's no doubt about it, you were the hottest team at the College World Series, and it's not even close. You were the hottest team. You were on a direct path to winning it all, and you got pulled right out from under you. So again, that's why, to me, I agree with Michael. You cannot say tarnished, because at the end of the day, he's been to 2 College World Series. Last year was one that nobody saw coming, and the fact that he had us at a national championship level, and how he handled the situation with the Pac-13 game, how he handled the situation of, again, just the love and the chemistry that those guys had, together was just undeniable. So, sorry, Greg, go ahead. But I just wanted to bring that up because, again, you can't not love Avent. You can't.
You got it, Greg.
Yeah, I'll go real quick. I mean, yeah, I don't think you put a but. I think you put an asterisk maybe. Like, I don't like but kind of has a negative connotation maybe. But the man is everything that we want from state. He's first and foremost a state guy. He's a state graduate. He's a state fan. He's practically best friends with David Thompson. I mean, he talks about DT all the time. He does everything in a class way. You've never heard any problems within the program, scandals, probation, nothing like that. To your point, Michael, he's going to probably have 1,000 wins. And no, I wouldn't say tarnished. Maybe a little disappointing, but I put little in like bold, like little disappointing. Because he's done everything right. I mean, you can't argue with the man. He goes above and beyond. He's very, very approachable to the fans. He bleeds red and white. So for me, I would never say tarnished. I'm actually disappointed for him, not for the fans.
Yeah. Which is that is unique, I feel like,
Which, I mean, I do want to give, though, a shout out, though, to the fans, though, because the fans this weekend were unbelievable. I mean, the support, I mean, it was sold out. It was, and because somebody actually asked in the questions, which I just thought I'd just kind of bring this up as a side note, but for the so for the Pitt game, it was 99% NC State. It was sold out. It was pretty much all NC State. And honestly, the only reason why all those fans probably didn't come back for Sunday was because it was noon and people going to church and, couldn't make it up, go in church and then get into the games since it was at noon. But I mean, it was still probably, I said about 65 to 70% at least NC State still. And it was blazing hot. It was so freaking hot at the game. So again, got to give a huge shout out. So, but I mean, so I see what you're saying, Greg, in terms of then you feel for Avent because he deserves to win a championship. But I mean, I do want to give a shout out to the fans as well, saying, I mean, again, the support for them this weekend was unbelievable. So, but go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm good. So again, I will yield my time now to Mike. Macon.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think he'll be tarnished. I think you all made great points. I think he's going to win one. I think he's been too good, and it's going to happen. I just think it's a matter of time. But you could argue if he doesn't, which I do think he's going to. Would he be considered and have the same? You mentioned a great point, Michael. But there'll always be a but. Would he end up being in a similar conversation as you see some of these NFL quarterbacks who were all-time greats, but just never got that Super Bowl? Phillip Rivers. Right. He is loved. People consider him one of the greatest quarterbacks who's ever played. But there's still the discussion if he's going to make it the Hall of Fame. Personally, I think he's going to make the Hall of Fame. But my point is, Avent's going to be considered the greatest baseball coach we've ever had until somebody does something as extraordinary as what he's done for the last 30 years. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be like, yeah, he just, is he, when you consider the weight of a championship or some hardware, he didn't really have any of that. He had none of that. So where do you rank him against some of these other baseball coaches that have done it once or twice or multiple times? Like, I think you wouldn't say that the coach at Duke is better than Avent, I don't think right now for baseball, but how many has Forbes won? Forbes for UNC. Is he just a person?
Well,
he's new. Yeah.
He's just brand new.
He was the assistant.
Okay. Yeah. Who is the famous baseball coach for Florida?
You can say Mike Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike Martin.
You're going to put that he's not coached. Maybe some guys not coached as long, but man, he won some stuff. So you got to give the tip of the hat to that guy, but you feel like I don't know. I think it's a similar discussion to like these NFL quarterbacks who were all-time greats, Dan Marino, who just could not get to a Super Bowl. And they're always going to have that comparison. Like Phillip Rivers was in the same class as Ben Roethlisberger and Eli Manning, and he's always going to be compared to those guys. So I don't think Phillip Rivers really cares, but you get the point.
He's got too many kids to worry about. He's got much.
He's got 9 kids to worry about.
He's got 95 kids and counting.
Yeah. So I figured, we'd have one more question here, and then we kind of have like a little fun question here. But so I thought I'd bring up Patrick Walter's question about how many AC championships will Pack Athletics win in the 2022-2023 school year, and what sports? So, Macon, you said eventually that Avent's going to win one. So, do you think it'll be next year?
No, but no? I mean, I'm trying. I don't want to think about this too hard. I'm guessing the future, and I have no idea.
I know. We're gonna look really dumb.
Yeah, the 2 tennis girls, are they seniors? Can they come back?
They are. They're seniors,
okay,
but
they're done. And I don't think they'll win another one right next year. I don't know. Men's might.
Well,
but
men's tennis. Gotcha. Okay. Sorry.
Tennis.
But let's go through the obvious one. So I think women's basketball, is going to be right back there to compete for one. So I'm going to give them one. Wrestling, I'm giving them one as well. Because again, we're talking regular season or postseason. So I mean, I think with
or postseason, like a ACC title.
Well, they're both ACC championships, whether you win regular season.
I thought we were talking like national title. I'm sorry.
It says how many ACC championships will Pack Athletics win.
Excuse me, I'm an idiot. Then let me do this. Then. Swimming's going to win one. Track's going to win. Women's track's going to win one. I'm going to say football's going to win one. I'm going to say women's basketball is going to win one. In a year, yep. And wrestling's going to win one, so that's 5. Mm-hmm. And
I think football can win both. I think football can win regular season and postseason. So I'd also put it at 6 right now if it remains.
Well, I think a lot of those. I think a lot of those guys can. I think 5 right there. I don't think soccer is going to do anything next year. I don't think softball is going to win it next year. If you would.
Volleyball is going to be competitive. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I just want to give a shout out to volleyball. Volleyball's going to be competitive.
I said softball already. Baseball, I don't see them winning ACC next year.
But again, a lot of it depends on what we do in the transfer portal. I know that we're looking at a lot of names right now. So again, a lot of it depends on kind of what we get for baseball, in my opinion, on it. But again, so I'm seeing like 6
I would say you've got 5. I would say I want to recap it. I think football. I think football, track, swimming, wrestling, and women's basketball.
Yeah, and I would say I'm more focused on women's swimming. I'm more confident. And I would say, men's swimming and diving is usually the one that's doing the best recently.
Women's track is the one that usually does the better in track, and then women's basketball has done better recently. I think I don't want to even go. I don't even want to get into basketball. I don't want to get too many. I just think I want to be just happy with the roster of men's basketball for right now. But I think it's 5: men's football, wrestling, swimming, women's track, and women's basketball. That's what I think.
At least those 5. I see that. Absolutely. But James is screaming out baseball still. So, hey, I mean,
baseball could. I do think, let's talk about this. What do they need to address? And we're out of time, way out of time. But they need to bring in pitching. In my opinion, they're going to lose Villman. Yep. They're definitely losing Silver. What they're losing? They're losing Brown, who's an outfielder, and they're losing JT Jarrett, who's a second baseman, but they can make those up defensively, I think.
And we have a ton of guys coming in as freshmen. I think we have like 15 guys that are coming in as freshmen. We have a lot of new players coming in. So
a lot of players play this year. So you got Palali back, Souls back, Cozart back. You've got Whitaker comes back, I think, at pitching. Peyton Green in infield, he's coming back. I was saying. So
Gino.
But yeah, Gino. How do I forget about Gino? Tommy White. So my thing is that it's probably going to be another development year. Could we? Yeah. I think you're going to see a similar team this year.
I think if they can get one big arm in the transfer portal, like Wilton and Whitaker are they'll be better next year, and Highfill obviously will be good. But, like we saw this year, one of them goes down and you're in a tough spot. So I think if you can get one big arm in the transfer portal, I think that'll help out a lot.
Got to be able to depth in the bullpen, absolutely. And then Devin asked the question, do you think if State would have beat Wake Forest at least once, do you think they would have made a tournament? Who the heck knows, Devin? Who the heck knows with the NCAA tournament? I mean, do we think so?
I think because that guy was the main reviewer for him, and he played Wake Forest. He probably would have given us a demerit for beating Wake Forest.
Demerit.
Actually, Wake Forest, you got to win 5 more games.
I mean, I thought we were. Everybody thought that we were in already. All of the mock, everything's had us in already.
How did those guys get so far off? How are they that far off? So it's not. I think the fact that it was everybody.
Yeah.
It shows you it's not an NC State delusional thing. It's legit the NCAA and whoever's doing this mess.
So that ends us perfectly on this last question from NK14 Alpha, which is why can't our baseball team have nice things? And
committees. I don't understand why they make committees up of like ADs of current ADs of schools. They obviously have biases. Like use other independent experts or former ADs that aren't. I don't know. That doesn't really.
At the end of the day, it's not working. At the end of the day, it is a clear consensus that it is not working. That something has to change. It's just it's factual now. So again, it is what it is. But yeah, Devin, I'm sorry to be more candid with that, but just again, man, it's like everybody thought we were going to get in. There was not a single person in the entire country, except for obviously those people in the room, that thought we were not going to get in. And yet we didn't get in. So I literally was, and again, you saw my immediate reaction. I literally was like, no, there has to be another regional because they haven't announced this yet. Like, there has to be another one somewhere. So
personally, I think wrap up this whole segment. I think Greg has given the best content of his life the last 5-10 minutes. So
and for those who don't know, his
a man of so many words.
His stuff is
my headphones died. I apologize.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So again, it was rough. But again, first of all, the one thing which I do want to go ahead and ask is, first of all, I hope that you guys, first of all, enjoyed this new format. Again, we're going to be adding some more stuff in. We do have plans to add more stuff in even before the next show. But again, we just want to kind of take babies, a big step first to start off with the first one, but then we'll take little steps as we go here. So it'll continue to get better. So first thing I want to ask is, if you don't mind, those who are tuning in with us, to share this with your family and friends, share this on social media. Again, we would love to have more NC State fans on here with us again, being a part of these conversations, having some fun, just kind of getting it all out here, especially, obviously enter the dead period here where things are a little bit slower. Again, would love to have you all on to join a conversation, talking football, recapping some things from this past year, all that jazz. So if you don't mind, please make sure to do that. And again, make sure to keep an eye out too, as we will be reaching out, asking for questions for our Tuffy's mailbag.
This will be a weekly thing
as well. So it'll be a weekly thing. Exactly. So make sure to keep an eye out for that as well. And then if you haven't already, make sure again, as always, hit that subscribe button, which is free to do, and make sure you don't miss out whenever we release new state content. We have crazily exciting episodes here planned that are be coming up here in the next couple weeks. So make sure crazily, that is a word, okay?
Invented a new word.
Now don't make fun of my words there, Mr. Franklin Street. So anyway,
hey, I had to unmute for that. Whoa.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, so again, make sure to do that if you haven't already. Again, also to hit that like button if you don't mind as well, so that way YouTube will put this Tuffy Talk live show in front of more NC State fans who could see it after it finishes live here, and also to give us a follow, Tuffy Talk now on Twitter and Instagram, so you do not miss out whenever we release any of this stuff. Thank you all so much for tuning in, James, McKenzie, everybody here with us. Really appreciate y'all, and hey, as always, go Pack, y'all, and we'll see y'all soon. All right, thank you all.